So you ready to talk about Star Wars for another 2 hours?
I'm always ready to talk about Star Wars for another 2 hours.
We do have some Star Wars news to discuss.
Do we, ladies and gentlemen? I believe Kyle has something he wants to talk about Star Wars. What is it?
Well, unfortunately, we're recording this a few hours before the big EA game event, which I assume they're going to show gameplay at, but they announced Star Wars Squadrons.
Star Wars TM Squadrons.
I don't know about you, but I'm mildly excited for this.
I am mildly interested. It looks really heavily like it's going to have a lot of VR mechanics in it that we won't be able to benefit from. I've heard that it's apparently a first-person only game. Like, there's no third-person ship angles.
Where are you getting this information?
From people who I talk with online about Star Wars who have guested on other podcasts with.
And where are they getting this information?
It was an article from Game Radar or something. I wasn't fully invested in the discussion that was being had. I was more just casually reading it. I wasn't contributing at all.
If that is the case, that ruins my hype a little bit, but...
I'm sorry to have completely just sunk your battleship in the first 5 minutes.
You really have here. It's very disappointing.
Give you some background here, ladies and gents. I love Battlefront 2's Starfighter Assault mechanic. I think it's criminally underlooked as a game mode. They basically killed it after launch, just didn't touch it again. They had Last Jedi DLC, but that was pre-completed.
Hey, they added a third Millennium Falcon.
They added the third Millennium Falcon. Hold the presses. I don't care. They'd never done anything for it. It was launch stuff, and that was it. I want this the second time someone's mentioned to me, they added another Millennium Falcon. I honestly, who cares? It's the worst hero ship anyway. And I love Starfighter Assault. Great game mode. A whole game surrounding it. Even better. I just don't know how well it's going to sell.
Well, we're assuming that it has the same gameplay. We don't know that.
Well, I would like to assume that it's the same gameplay. I kind of think that it's going to be, though. No way it's not.
It'd be kind of hard to drastically change it, I suppose.
I hope that Starfighter Assault, the game Star Wars Squadrons, looks exactly like Starfighter Assault. I think the gameplay's solid. I hope it's got a better story than Battlefront 2. Battlefront 2 is a good story, but it's short.
My major concern, and I thought they would have learned this from Battlefront 2, is I'm so sick of the original trilogy era of Star Wars. I just wish they'd set it in a different era. But whatever.
That's all this game is. This is just slightly post Return of the Jedi. And I think that's going to be a sweet spot they try and milk for every last penny, because market research data will tell them. Everyone loves your casual person. Everyone loves the original trilogy. And if you do it just post Return of the Jedi, you can still have all those characters around, and you can have all the equipment around, because nothing's really changed yet. The Empire's still kicking about, the Rebels, New Republic. It's roughly still the same era. If you do prequels, everything's different. If you do First Order, even though everything's the same, it's still not the same.
I understand this as a safe marketing thing, because you don't really get...
The Mandalorian's just doing it, they're not going to... I think this is the new thing.
Yes. You don't get Star Wars fans that only love the prequels or only love the sequels. Everyone kind of agrees that the original trilogy is good, even if they might prefer other ones, right? So it's the safe option. But
you please everyone.
It's just so overdone now. I feel, just especially starting with Rogue One. It's just everything after that has been this era of Star Wars.
Well, I've said it on the podcast before. I'm fed up of the Band of Rebels line.
Yes.
And even if these people are trying to form the New Republic, fighting the Empire, in practice, because your hero's always got to be outmatched by the villain so you can root for them, they're going to be rebels.
Yes.
They're in orange jumpsuits, flying X-Wings. They're rebels.
Well, it's the weird thing about setting this is because didn't Battlefront 2 already do this?
Yeah, but this is going to be from... Well, even this game is going to have an Imperial through to it. But, Iden Versio turned good within the first 5 minutes, so it's fine.
That's why I'm saying it's the same
this
thing.
This is going to have one campaign. Well, I don't know this. This is what I'm assuming. This is going to have one campaign that's from the perspective of the soon-to-be New Republic, and one campaign of the Imperial Remnant.
That's kind of what the trailer gave me the idea of. I don't know if that's
what I think.
It could just be heavy marketing on the villains, though, like Star Wars do.
It's possible, but they built it up being like two sides of the same coin. This is the good squad, this is the bad squad. They both are ace pilot squads, and they're going to dogfight.
I just have to say, Star Wars Squadrons. It's kind of boring name.
Yeah, it's not the best name. I think it I don't know this for a fact, but I think I read somewhere that this ties into the Alphabet Squadron book, which is also another bad name.
The Alphabet Squadron?
Yeah, it's a book, and at first I thought it was going to be really aimed at kids. And
it sounds like it's aimed at kids.
I haven't read it. But it's about different rebel squadrons, and I think Wedge is in one of them, and other fan favourites are in others. And I think they're supposed to be really compelling stories. I don't really know much about it. And this is just something I heard recently. And this is, like, I think that ties into that for book lovers. But we're supposed to be pleased because we've got Harrison Dula.
You say that sarcastically. I'm very happy to see Hera. I don't even care.
She's not going to be a big part of the game.
There's no reason not to make her at least a character in the game, though.
There's no reason not to do it, but they didn't do it.
How do you?
I'll tell you why they didn't do it, Kyle. Because if she speaks, they got to pay Dave Filoni $1 million.
I think they can afford it. It's fine.
They don't want to pay him shit.
They already have to pay him loads because she's in the game.
Yeah, but the second they get a spoken dialogue, pay them more.
Okay, a man can dream. Okay,
a man can dream.
Do you have any other predictions for Star Wars news later tonight? Obviously, this will be irrelevant before I get this podcast out, but we're here in the present. We can talk about it.
Yes, we don't owe our future selves shit. I think we might get some gameplay. Maybe it's all first person thing will get completely shot down. Maybe that's just if it's VR, it's stuck in first person.
I think they've already said they're doing gameplay at the event. I'm assuming that they were planning to announce the game today, but it got leaked early, so they did damage control and released the trailer. Yeah.
This is a side tangent, and I don't know. I will try and get back to this in a second, but do you remember when the Age of Ultron trailer leaked? It was supposed to play in front of like an episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the first teaser.
I don't remember this.
It leaked online early, then Kevin Feige was at Comic-Con and he was doing like the first official unveiling for fans. Because if you weren't in the hall, you weren't supposed to see it until it debuted in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole event ended up being recorded, so it's now something you can just see freely, and he's like, here's this new big world trailer that some of you may have already seen, and everyone laughs because there was a huge leak a couple of days before, and he's just like, God damn it,
You just got to own it.
Here it is now. Yeah, you've got to own it, and I think they did. I think Kevin Feige did at the time for Age of Ultron, and I've got a feeling that these guys at EA have owned this as well, because they didn't just try and cover it up and wait until tonight. They just released it early.
Which is the right thing to do, I think.
Which is, I have another thing that I want to talk about later in the show tonight that kind of ties into that also. It's good if you just try and stay ahead of it. Don't Barbra Streisand it. Never Barbra Streisand it.
What are the other Star Wars things they could do? Do you think we'll see any Battlefront 3? I'm iffy on that. It's possible.
I would love it, under the condition that the base game of Battlefront 3 is at least as good as the end game of Battlefront 2.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Good luck with that.
You don't want the answer to the really pressing question if they'll continue the story of Aiden Versio's daughter.
I think they might just strip campaign out it again.
Oh, I don't think everyone had a huge meltdown when the first game didn't have a campaign.
I know that, but see now they serviced it in Battlefront 2. They can just leave it out Battlefront 3 and be like, well, no one fucking cared.
I cared.
We gave you it.
I liked it.
It was fine. I liked it too. I would rather have a new campaign than not have it at all. I am on the campaign thumbs up side of the ideology here. I think the campaigns in video games are better than not.
Here's the thing, people always say, oh, you play for the multiplayer, but whenever a franchise actually does this, like, do you remember Battlefield 4? No, nobody does. Nobody played it. And it didn't have a campaign.
Do you remember, what was that Call of Duty game that didn't have a campaign?
That's what I just said, Black Ops 4.
You said Battlefield.
I meant Black Ops.
It's just, it really does. It's completely stupid, especially when they still charge a full retail price. Like, what's your cost expenditure on a campaign if you're just not going to reduce any price?
Right, exactly. The campaigns are generally the more, I would assume they're the more expensive thing to produce. You've got to have all these glossy cutscenes and things like this.
Depends on what you put into it. I mean, I think, see the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare, I think the cutscenes in that game, I almost said film there, the cutscenes in that game do look like films. They're absolutely brilliant. I'm damn sure that the campaign probably costs more than the multiplayer, but you can get some other games, like, I can probably feel like it's 50-50.
Maybe still, but you shouldn't charge full price if it doesn't have a campaign.
I can guarantee Battlefront 3 will, even if it doesn't. I would like a Battlefront 3. They are not announcing one tonight, and they haven't said that. I'm just putting money on it. And they probably won't even talk about one until at least 2024. That's just a year I've plucked out, but they ain't going to talk about it anytime soon.
That's a very long time.
I know. I'm being quite deliberate in saying that. I'm not. They're not going to do it next year. I don't believe they'll let this summer. I know they were right out the gates getting the second one done. Like 2015, the first one came out, and then 2017, the second one did. But I think they're going to let two simmer for a while. I don't think we're going to be expected to get a sequel for some time. For no reason particularly. I can't really iron it down. Something. Because they've been killing Star Wars games left, right and centre. Jedi Fallen Order was the one that they didn't kill, and everyone was surprised. Remember that one they were supposed to get? It was like the footage they showed. There was a guy in a trench coat and Tatooine, and he walks out, and there's Imperial flags everywhere, and a Star Destroyer up, and it was supposed to be kind of like an Uncharted style Star Wars game. That game just got cancelled completely. Never heard of it since.
I do remember that. It looked interesting. It'd be nice to have an actual Star Wars RPG, because Fallen Order is nice, but it's just a typical campaign. There isn't any role-playing element to it.
Do you think we'll ever get a sequel to that?
To Fallen Order? I wouldn't be surprised. I think it did reasonably well.
I don't think we will, and I also understand that I've been one of the people that thinks that we have no reason to get a sequel to it. So maybe that's me being a little bit biased because I'm low-key thinking it's pointless.
I could be wrong here. Haven't they already said they're working on a sequel?
Oh, you've put me in the doghouse if they have. I'm not sure. I feel like I would know that. It's completely possible they have, and I'm completely oblivious to it, or at this current time of recording don't remember. But I don't know. I can't see it happening. If it has been happening, and after we finish this recording, I look into it and I'm like, oh shit, they have.
Here's what you need to remember about EA: they don't kill off franchises; they milk them until they die. That's the EA way.
Jedi Fallen Order ain't the franchise. Star Wars is the franchise. Battlefront is different because Battlefront's got the legacy behind it of being loved games from the earlier time in video games as a concept. And there was a big 10-year gap, and everyone just loved it because it was the online game that certain generation just was lightning in a bottle, the second one especially. And I think that's an exception, but Jedi Fallen Order is just too new. It's a single-player game. It's not even like a Republic Commando type game where it's become a fan favourite. I don't think people are going to be talking about Jedi Fallen Order in 3 years. It's a Star Wars game that exists. It's very good. It's competent.
That's what I'm saying. It's a decent, competent game, and decent, competent games I think are safe bet for a sequel. That's why I would call it a sequel to Fallen Order. I would call it a safe bet.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, I don't think we need one. I would love another game of the same style, just a completely different cast of characters. I think it was just the characters in Fallen Order I thought were just so there was nothing to them, in my opinion. So I would love to see another story game, because story-driven games I think are absolutely brilliant. I love a good story in a game. For instance, I'm playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey right now, but I started playing Red Dead Redemption 2. Never played the first one, and I understand that you don't need to. And it's a very intimidating game with a lot of mechanics to it that I think will be the thing that breaks me. Mm-hmm. But the story, when they're doing the story, when you're riding a horse next to someone and they're having dialogue and the music and playing in the background is like just kind of background music, it's brilliant. The story is so great. I'm totally enthralled in the story if the gameplay is too much for me. And I think a good story-driven game, they're few and far between. I would love another Star Wars game that's story-driven.
I think there's plenty of great story games. You just don't play a lot of games.
Not true. I personally don't think there are.
You spent like 3 years playing Fortnite. What the fuck do you know?
I'm still playing Fortnite. New season, baby!
This is the guy who doesn't even play the Batman Arkham games.
I sold Arkham City. It wasn't for me.
Yeah, you can't talk shit about games having bad stories, okay?
I just don't like the games. I love a good story if I can get put through the gameplay.
I mean, these are our options, because I would be shocked if they don't have at least 2 Star Wars games. Star Wars is kind of big for them right now. That's their big get. So
this Squadrons game will be I think it will be their backseat game. If they've got another game to announce tonight, that will be their big one.
That's what I'm thinking too. I feel like they can't sell it just on Squadrons.
In that trailer, if you look at it, a lot of it is first person from the actual character perspective. There's no like.
Well, it is not a gameplay trailer.
But yeah, it's not a gameplay trailer. But all the shots of ships didn't look like they were trying to be. It was all very cinematic shots, and then shots from inside the cockpit had like hands here, numbers on this. Numbers around the cockpit that look like they're there for a purpose.
I should just say right now, by the way, I play Star Wars Battlefront 2 in first person, so this isn't actually a problem for me specifically. I actually love doing first person.
Starfighter?
I actually love playing Starfighter Assault in first person.
God, I'm really good at Starfighter Assault. I'm not that I'm being humble or anything, but I play third person. Every once in a while is like almost like just to humor myself, I'll go first person, and I'm like, wow, how do people do this? It's not easy.
I normally don't do it in games, but for some reason in flying games specifically, I like doing the first person on it. Whatever, that was a tangent.
Yeah. But I kind of think that this game is it feels more of a side piece. Star Wars Squad, even the name isn't very inspiring. It does sound like a side game. It sounds like Star Trek Bridge Crew. A game I would love to play, by the way, but that's besides the point. That isn't exactly the game that people talk about when they think about Star Trek. It's like a VR experience side piece, like Vader Immortal. Remember that VR game that we never played?
We should note, by the way, that there is really old Star Wars dogfighting games. Like really old, like older than Republic Commando and things like that.
Yeah, from the 90s.
So this could be seen as a return to form for that, but
I feel like that type of game is dead.
Yeah,
like you get like that. Maybe if this is that can be one of them, or you can get Skull and Bones, where it's a very pigeonholed game.
Remember Skull and Bones?
Yeah, remember Skull and Bones.
I hope we see that one day. I really do.
They don't remember it. Now that I'm playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I feel like I've got my navel fix. I'm kind of over it now.
It's not as good as it was in Black Flag and Odyssey.
It's not as good. It's just
they tried to recreate it, but it's just the satisfaction of the cannonballs and all this. It's not the same.
A big explosion and cannonballs firing broadsides isn't as good as arrows and javelins. It's just not. That's another tangent. Unless you see if they had capital ship broadside combat in this new Squadrons game. Oh my god!
That is the big question: will it just be fighters?
I think it'll be a dogfight game.
Because it would be awesome if you could control a Star Destroyer.
How do you tell a super compelling story driven by characters when all the gameplay is just dogfights and you're not actually spending any time with said characters because you're just looking at a ship? Or indeed first person, you're looking at the cockpit.
I don't think it's that different from just a first-person shooter where a lot of the story is kind of told in the briefing room before you go out on a mission. It's, we've got to go secure this oil depot. So then you fly out and you secure the oil depot. Oh no, the capital ship is under attack. Get in your ships and protect it. I don't think it'll be that difficult to tell a story.
I feel like I'll become more bonded with the ship at the end than the character, though.
It's possible.
I like to see the character.
That's the same as a first-person shooter game, though.
I suppose I would be kind of getting lost in the weeds there. Yeah,
I don't think it'll be an issue.
I love the game type of a Starfighter Assault. I love dogfights. I love 3D space combat.
There's plenty of space combat in the Battlefront 2 campaign.
Yeah, so I was going to say that. I've got no reason to want to dislike this game. It could be absolutely brilliant. I will probably definitely play it. Probably definitely. That's not something that can be said. Most likely I will play this game, and if it's got a good story, why would I want to dislike it? A good Star Wars game is a good Star Wars game. I want to like Star Wars. It will be a refreshing change.
Hey, we're after the Rise of Skywalker. We got Clone Wars, so I'm on a high for Star Wars right now.
Clone Wars, we had Mando concurrently.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been a good time actually, bar the films. So if it's great, it's great. I just something about it. Something about a dogfight only game seems super limited. like a naval combat only game for Skull and Bones, by the way, but I don't know, I just liked the naval combat in Assassin's Creed 4 so much I was willing to accept it.
You don't feel the same way about Star Wars Battlefront space combat? Because if there was anyone who this game was for, it was for you.
I guess that I do, but I'm in the same merits as Skull and Bones. I'm so over it now because it's been years. I'm so over Battlefront 2 space combat now, even though it's a game I still play. It's been years. You know, the game came out in 2017, and it's fine. You know, it's whatever. You know, if it had air hopping, that would be cool, but it doesn't because I don't even know if it's going to have multiplayer.
It'll definitely have multiplayer. That's not a question. It's an EA game. They're going to try and sneakily put loot boxes back in there. You know they are. Everyone's forgotten about Battlefront 2 by now, right?
What a world that would be if everyone just letting off the hook with that.
You know what's been weird? I mean, I don't play the sports games, which EA are famously bad for, but in a lot of recent EA games, they haven't been awful. Have you noticed this?
I haven't heard anyone talking about it. But
exactly, right? You know, there isn't loot boxes in Fallen Order. There isn't... Modern EA games, they haven't been quite as awful. EA is no longer, in my head, the poster boy for the worst games company.
Who's that now?
That's a good question. Ubisoft
casual games?
Obviously. But Ubisoft are pretty bad right now with the XP boosters and all that stuff in their single-player games.
I wasn't really fully aware that was a thing. I know I could get XP boosters and stuff in the Ubisoft Play app on my Xbox, but I never thought of them as microtransactions because it's like a one-off gift that I could get with.
Oh no, you can buy those for real money.
Oh really?
Yes. Fun. Maybe I'm being too nice to EA right now. Time will tell.
Yeah, maybe you are. Time will tell. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, this. Really, I didn't know that thing was happening tonight, or if I did, I completely forgot, and the fact that we're doing this before that showcase is going to age this horribly.
It's fine. Well, we're in the year of everything got cancelled, so there's no E3 this year, and maybe never will be again. We'll find out.
Yeah, E3 is an interesting one. It's been fizzling out for many years now, and if something was going to give it a sudden bludgeon to the back of the head, this would be it. Microsoft... They partner with E3, but officially they never do anything with E3. They do it in the Microsoft Convention Centre, which is literally across the street from where E3 do their thing. But it's not at all monitored by E3 because it's
PlayStation has been doing their own thing for a few years now at the same time.
Yeah.
And EA is now doing their own event tonight, as opposed to being in a part of E3, goddammit.
But E3 still tweet along with it, which I find interesting. They're still like, hey guys, we support you.
Well, there is something nice about all of the companies doing all this stuff on the same day. It just creates this epic time where you can just talk about so much stuff. And I do like that. It does
create a buzz where you can catch the airwaves. I mean, that's what I said with Microsoft and Sony have been doing their own thing for a while. They all done it at roughly the same time because it was when you could kind of catch lightning. It was, it's when people are talking. When people are talking, we need to release it now because people are on a video game as in general, they're on that hype. So we can release our thing now and they'll latch onto that. The fact it's from a different studio almost doesn't matter.
Well, that's because PlayStation's event was last week, right? Or a couple weeks ago now? No, last week. And obviously, as us big Xbox gamer boys, we don't have much to say about it.
Not at all. I'm super annoyed that they've got another Spider-Man game coming out and it's an exclusive.
PlayStation always killing us with the exclusives. It's a real struggle.
I read a BBC article today or yesterday with it's an interview with Phil Spencer, head of Xbox.
Oh boy.
And they're talking about what's kind of to come for Xbox, how they present. It was kind of they talk about games, but it was a very business focused interview.
Something for you then.
Something for me. And they're talking about how Xbox sees itself and its position and kind of what's its direction. And it kind of actually affirms something I've always thought. And they talk about how other outlets for games, they don't say the name PlayStation at any point, but you can get it.
Who else are they talking about?
Yeah, who else are they talking about? They talk about, and they say, even though other places might be getting certain exclusives, we have create a better, they claim this to be true, we create a better social experience than PlayStation, which I don't know if it's true. I don't play PlayStation online, but the Xbox social system I think works great, so I have no reason to believe that PlayStation are doing any better, I think I would know about it. And they also say, out of everyone who plays our games, we have a 40% higher player participation rate and repeat customers. People come back to our games more often. So they're saying PlayStation do better with titles and names, but when people actually play our games, they play our games more.
Well, there's an interesting thing about that because all the games that are super successful for Sony are big, heavy story games. Spider-Man, God of War, The Last of Us, these don't have I think The Last of Us does have multiplayer, but they're primarily sold on single-player campaigns.
Exactly. And I think that they also mentioned something. They also mentioned the Xbox Game Pass, and Game Pass Ultimate is what they said, because I think they want to bring it over. They're talking about PC, and they talk about games like Minecraft because they own Minecraft, and they say Minecraft is brilliant. Minecraft is one of our biggest games at the moment, and they don't mention the fact that it's cross-platform, but they just keep hammering home this. Minecraft is doing really well, and it's one of our game parties through Mojang. And it's over 10 years old.
Are they really bragging about the most popular game of all time being popular?
Yeah, exactly. But they talk about Game Pass and how really they were talking about it in simplistic terms, but behind the curtain of what they're saying, they're really saying we are not trying to compete with PlayStation anymore. And I don't know if that's admitting defeat or just saying we're not trying. We don't care.
We've talked about this on the podcast before. The different directions of these two franchises or
but
companies.
I think for the average consumer, all people, even friends of ours, all we're really seeing is PlayStation just knocking it out of the park based on what we want, and it can get quite frustrating because we are just with Xbox and we're stuck in the ecosystem.
I mean,
and we're like, I wouldn't mind Xbox doing more of that, but from a business perspective, Xbox are doing their own thing and they're doing it marvellously. I think Game Pass is a great service, backwards compatibility from day one. All my Xbox One games work on the Xbox Series X immediately. That's great.
Here's the other thing too, and this is less of a thing now because the PlayStation conference this year had a really big focus on indie games. They had a lot of indie games on display.
Yeah.
Which kind of takes away from the thing I used to praise Xbox for, which is that they did a lot of indie game stuff.
Idea Xbox.
Yeah. And I play a lot of those indie games. I just played the one on Games with Gold right now, Coffee Talk. It's very cute.
I've seen you playing that. I didn't know what it was, but it sounded very you.
It's very cute.
What's this Coffee Talk?
And I think you'll find it boring as hell, but I liked it.
How dare you?
I
love Slime Rancher.
It's a game. It's barely a game. I'll say that. It's a graphic novel. It's not really a game or a visual novel.
Just remember how much I like Firewatch.
The only thing you do is listen to people talk and occasionally brew coffee.
See, I think depending what the discussions are, I could love that. I just finished the bit in Assassin's Creed Odyssey where you just need to listen and speak to and stand and listen to an Itsu speak for 5 minutes when you're standing in a temple just going off your nut because it's in gameplay. It's not even a cutscene.
Well, you've got no reason not to try it. It's only like 700 megabytes and it's free, so...
Sure, I'll give it a try. I'll give it a whirl, ladies and gentlemen, and in the follow-up episode we'll talk about what I thought about it.
No, because it'll be in 2 months and you'll have completely forgotten.
No, I'll do a solo podcast. It'll be like a side note episode that's 2 minutes long, or even 2 seconds long, and I'll just say I liked it or I hated it, and that'll be it.
I was going to make a joke about how we've got exclusives like Minecraft Dungeons, but is Minecraft Dungeons even an exclusive? I don't think it is.
No, I don't think it is either. Plug your new video.
Watch my video to learn more about my thoughts about Minecraft Dungeons.
So I really would like to see if you're saying that PlayStation showcased a lot of indie titles at their just conference there. Maybe Xbox are going to be like, we're going to do more of what PlayStation are doing. And at their conference
and Console
this year,
Wars 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Can't wait. It's going to be so good. And, I know we're initially talking about what we're expecting from EA tonight, if they're going to have another Star Wars game, but at Xbox, I would love it if they just blew the doors off with some massive Halo stuff. I know they've basically been saying that they will have some Halo stuff, but
it'd be crazy if they don't
trailer.
have some Halo stuff. They have to release gameplay this year, surely.
They have to show us something, even a story trailer, for God's sake. Because that thing was in the script as shit.
Yes.
It was hype, and it was like, we need a fight, and there was this one of them, they're back to finish us off.
It was pretty much just showing, hey look, we're going back to the art style everyone likes.
Which I was very happy about, don't get me wrong. That was like, these Marines don't look plastic anymore. They don't look like the soldiers from Toy Story.
I mean, my more problem with the Halo 4 or 5 era of Halo is just how ugly it looks. Everything looks horrible, and they're going for this gritty realism look, and I hate it so much. Here's the problem with EA conferences. When they used to do E3, they were always the most boring conference because half of their conference was sports games.
Yeah, and they would always whore out like their big titles to another conference. Yeah,
usually. Yeah. So I don't even know what else to expect. I mean, there's been a lot of rumors about a Mass Effect Trilogy remaster, which sounds fun, but what else is there really?
Not only is it a remaster of Mass Effect 1, we've reworked the gameplay.
That would be nice. But generally all the rumours I've seen have been a remastered trilogy, so more like Ezio Collection, most likely.
Right, so they're not going Halo 2 on it, they're just...
Well, I don't know, but that would be my guess.
I would love if they went Halo 2 on it, because the Ezio trilogy, as nice as it is, everything still looks the same, and in some cases worse. I want Halo 2 Anniversary, that's what I want, Kyle, because my god, that game looks wonderful. And I would love to see the Mass Effect cutscenes just like that great, because in the past couple of years I've started to see Mass Effect 3 age.
Oh yeah, Mass Effect 3 came out almost 8 years ago now, so...
Yep.
But if they were going to do it, it would most likely just be the first game, which is fair enough. That one looks the worst and plays awful, so if any game deserves a remaster, it's Mass Effect 1.
They won't rework the gameplay, they'll leave it the same.
Oh god. If they just put the gameplay straight from Mass Effect 3 into it, not even from Andromeda, because the gameplay in Mass Effect 3 is better than the gameplay in Mass Effect Andromeda. Just gonna drop that there. But just put that in Mass Effect 1 and it'll be great. Just do it. I don't care about the fact that you reuse the same 5 buildings every single time. Just put better gameplay in it. But yeah, what else does EA own that you think? New Battlefield game?
Yeah, actually, you know what? I think they would do that, but I think they would also whore that out to another conference.
Yeah, but there isn't new other conferences this year, so it's all on them.
Because Xbox are saying this is primarily about the first party stuff. Though I think they might show some. I know this is a Ubisoft thing. I think the Xbox conference might show a little bit of Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Probably. They seem to be buddy with Assassin's Creed right now, which I am not complaining about.
Neither am I. They used to be buddy with PlayStation. But what are EA going to show? Squadrons, NBA 2021,
FIFA.
FIFA. They'll show FIFA, and every person on my Facebook feed that's like a sports gamer, they'll share it, and their girlfriends will share it, saying, I guess that's me put in the back burner for the next 6 months. It's like, okay. I don't play those games.
Whatever works for you.
Whatever works for you, kid.
It's like in the inevitable Xbox conference where they do 10 minutes on Forza. It's great.
Oh, yeah.
Just gonna tune out for this bit.
Who does Need for Speed?
That might be EA.
They're making you Need for Speed. That's what they'll do. 2021 is the year for race cars.
Every year's the year for race cars, Nathan.
Does he own the gaming rights for Inspector Gadget? I want an Inspector Gadget game.
Well, what's always the most exciting is the weird things you don't expect. Like, well, if they just did a random remaster of The Force Unleashed,
Well, see, that's the thing. What? Because the second we see it, then we're expecting it, and it's not a surprise. It'll be something that'll completely sideswipe us that we won't see coming.
That's fair enough.
Who make the Star Trek games?
I don't even know.
It's not EA.
I'd love to see a real Star Trek game, but it seems unlikely.
Give me a remaster of Star Trek Legacy, you cowards!
Never played Star Trek Legacy.
I need to get hold of it, Kyle. You need to get hold of it. It's not even. You can't even play it on Xbox One. It's so ridiculous. How many games can you play on Xbox One now? It's almost all of them. Series X,
that's
give
great.
us 100%.
It got a tiny. One of the games with gold this month. You can't even play on Xbox One. It's ridiculous. No one has a 360 plugged in anymore. Nobody.
I don't. I have mine all wrapped up neatly and bundled under the Xbox One, and it could be plugged in 2 seconds flat. But do I want to? Not really.
Well, you can play on it that you can play on. Honestly, it's
Star
basically
Trek
for
Legacy.
whenever you get the desire to play Star Trek Legacy. That's it.
That's exactly it. I hope the Xbox Series X is 100% backwards compatibility on the One, the 360, and the original Xbox straight away. Why not at this point?
At least any game that's already backwards compatible on the One should also be compatible.
I believe any game that's already backwards compatible will get crossed over, because I think they're just transferring a lot of code.
I would love it if this time I get a new console, I can just get rid of the old one, because for the One to the 360, there was this awkward period of like a year and a half where you had to have both plugged in just in case.
Yeah. We're finally away from that, but...
And even companies like Ubisoft, where they released one game on one console and one game on the other console. It's, oh, great, thanks.
I think it's... You know what? I just thought of this last night. I believe this generation will be the last game generation that has a disc drive in the console. Because I think feel
that's... Yeah, I can see that.
Because I feel like the PlayStation 5, I think it looks better without the disc tray or disc drive. But,
the disc. I'll say right now, I don't like the look of the PlayStation 5 at all. I think it looks so bizarre.
I think it looks a bit. It looks
pretentious.
What people in the past thought the future would look like.
That's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah, or those elite concept arts.
It looks like a game
Xbox
console from the Jetsons. Not even the Jetsons. It's like 2000s future.
I think it honestly looks like those leaked concept arts of what people thought the Xbox 720 was going to look like, or something like that. Or
when the Xbox would just be like a big orb with the Xbox logo and stuff like that.
Yeah, or something like that. Or those leaked pictures of the supposed PS4 back before when that came out. But
I just thought what it reminds me of. It reminds me of the silencers in Hot Wheels Acceleracers.
Well done. Is there anyone ever listening to this that gets that reference?
If you get that reference, let me know.
Though, seriously, I kind of think that it's a pain in the ass for me, because Xbox Series X's ship model, the base model, has a disc drive, which is great. I appreciate it. I need it. And I download pretty much all of my games now, and I subscribe to a bunch of streaming services to watch stuff, but I have a massive catalogue of physical media that I've just collected over the years. I need some outlet to use it. You know how the Xbox One, there's 3 models. There's the Xbox One ship model, there's the Xbox One S, there's the Xbox One X, and then the Xbox One S had a digital only version that released late in the game. I've got a feeling that it's very even possible that the final model of the Xbox Series X, when we're getting ready to jump to the next generation again, might not just that you just can't get it with a disc drive.
It wouldn't surprise me. I mean,
they'll actually start phasing disc drives out this generation with subsequent models, and then by the time you jump to next gen again in the next 8 years, it's just gone. It's just not a thing.
I'm trying to think. I don't actually think I've bought a disc since getting an Xbox One. I have some Xbox One discs, but I don't think I bought those. I think those were given to me as gifts.
It's completely possible. I mean, I think I can definitely see the market trending away, with streaming services. Disney Plus just launched.
Game Pass
physical media's dying out.
Relevant.
Game Pass on Xbox. It's becoming less and less important unless you've got really bad Wi-Fi. I'm fortunate enough at the minute in my life where I have really good Wi-Fi. I don't need discs. I just installed Assassin's Creed Unity there because I'm on an Assassin's Creed at the minute, and I've played Unity before, but I want to go back to it. And it's very annoying having to put the disc in. I'm so fed up of it already, I haven't even played the game, but when I had to install it, I was like, oh, I need to put the disc in. It was £8.24 on the Xbox store, right? I almost considered buying it just so I didn't have to have the disc. I almost bought it.
You know what? I think I've been there as well.
I didn't do it, for the record. I didn't do it, but I almost did just so I didn't have to put the disc in. It's ridiculous, and I will always need, just because I can't see myself ever throwing this stuff out. I could maybe one day I'll sell it, but even then, some stuff here that's like steelbooks and stuff for Star Trek Collection, I'm just not going to sell them. And sometimes if the internet's down, I want to watch a movie, anything happens, physical media is there for me. And if they release a subsequent model without a disc drive, I mean, I'll buy the whatever the next thing is after the Series X. I know we're talking a decade into the future at this point.
Well, as long as you can still play downloaded games offline, it should be okay.
Yeah, no, that'll be fine. But just for me personally, I will always need something with a disc tray. So I will keep the Series X when the next generation comes out, just so I have a Blu-ray player.
Fair enough. It's not a problem for most people, though.
No, it's not. It's not a problem for most people. I completely support the direction they're going, but I also understand that it hurts me. But as a general rule, it's quite good.
I should point out, you mentioned Assassin's Creed Valhalla. We never actually talked about that on the podcast.
We never did we?
Because
I think maybe that's because I hadn't played Odyssey.
It came out before our Clone Wars episode, so that was kind of took precedent.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's look back to Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Look back to a game that hasn't come out yet.
Look back to when we mentioned it in the pod.
I was wondering, is the trailer for that what triggered your sudden revival of Assassin's Creed interest?
So, I've been getting poked and prodded to play the Odyssey more so, but the Odyssey Origins era of Assassin's Creed, because I see the Assassin's Creed games as they usually come in pairs or sometimes triplets, and then they move on.
The last couple of years they've been coming in pairs. They used to come in triplets.
Yeah, they used to come in triplets. So, Origins, I've said it till I'm blue in the face. You understand that I think that these games they've just got the name slapped on them, even though I haven't played Origins yet, though I do now own it. And then something clicked. Valhalla actually doesn't look as compelling to me as most people do. I've never been a Norse guy, to be honest with you. I never cared about Norse gods and Norse mythology and Vikings. It was never my thing. Even ancient Greece is never my thing, but I liked it more than I like Norse stuff, you know? And I actually quite like ancient Egypt quite a bit, probably stirred on by my love for the Mummy movies with Brendan Fraser. But I still haven't played the game. And I think if you and our other friend was talking about for a long period of time, I eventually just decided I'll play it one day. And I've got another group of friends whom you don't even know, and a couple of them, they love Odyssey. Odyssey's their favourite Assassin's Creed game ever. They love it. It's brilliant. They don't think it's a good Assassin's Creed game. They think the name is just completely slapped on it. They acknowledge that, but they think the game is just brilliant.
Well, I'm curious. You've played a fair amount of it now. Do you agree with that assessment? Because I actually don't, and I think I'm rare in this of people. Most people seem to think it's that, but I think it still feels like Assassin's Creed, even if it doesn't have assassins and Templars in it.
So, I kind of agree with you to a point. Like how I think you've never seen Solo, Star Wars Story. I think that is a perfectly fun, enjoyable Star Wars film, but Han Solo's nowhere in it. I think this is a very fun, serviceable Assassin's Creed game, but assassins are nowhere in it.
Sure.
I think it plays very familiar. I thought these, including Origins that I've never played, but I'm assuming Odyssey is just a refinement on Origins in terms of gameplay.
Sort of. So, I think it plays surprisingly more like Assassin's Creed than I actually thought it was gonna. And I definitely, when I'm playing it, I'm aware I'm playing Assassin's Creed. If someone dropped me in here, I'd be like, oh, it's like Assassin's Creed. Oh, it is Assassin's Creed? Because I don't think the era and the story being told is remotely Assassin's Creed, really. I think cultists might as well just call them Templars. Why not? That's what I'm saying. The enemy are still the Templars, even if they don't call them that.
Yeah.
And all the family drama stuff, that feels very reminiscent of like Haytham and Connor. Assassin's Creed often does family stuff, so that doesn't feel out of place to me at all.
I will say I felt this. I think we should probably go into spoilers, but let me do the spoiling because you know everything and the way I've played it is a bit scattershot, so I don't want you to say something that I haven't experienced. Because I should say I'm loving Odyssey. It's a great time, and it's spurred on my interest because eventually when the Valhalla trailer came out, these other people who you don't associate with were also talking about Odyssey, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to do it. I'm just, fine, do it. It's a prequel to Origins, so I technically shouldn't be missing out on stuff. The modern day stuff is kind of, they mention Egypt sometimes, and I'm like, ugh. But it's been good, and I feel like I accidentally finished the main story today.
Oh.
but I'm not sure if it's done yet.
What did you accidentally finish?
There's a bit in the game where you have the option to help seal Atlantis or go. There's not even an option, you can do both. But what do I want to do first, basically? Do I want to seal Atlantis or do I want to go with Marine to Sparta, to Spartan King, call it whatever,
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, I've got a feeling this stuff with Pythagoras, the father, again, spoiling, I thought that was just going to be kind of it, we do that, and then the main story is actually more about family at this point. Even if the modern day stuff obviously is more interested in Atlantis.
Yeah.
And I went and done the Atlantis stuff, and then out of nowhere, the game just kind of ends.
Yeah, that's the real ending.
Yeah.
Our other friend, who for some reason we're not naming today, he doesn't like the multiple plot lines thing that they did, which I kind of see. I kind of prefer a more linear narrative in my Assassin's Creeds.
So do I. Because the game gave me no inference, because it felt like this Atlantis thing, it says collect all the orbs thing. I already had 3 before even knowing that this was a thing I had to do. I had already killed the Minotaur, I'd done Medusa, I'd done, I think, a Cyclops, probably one of them, and I had to go speak to the Sphinx, because I believe you can't even do the Sphinx until you've met Pythagoras. So I had 3 out of 4 already. I did the Sphinx thing, and then it was like, oh, that's me got all 4 already, this is easy, and I just went and done it because I thought this would be quick. And it felt like there's still a lot more to come with the family story, with, Alexios and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like there's a lot more there, so I was like, well, surely this is where the story's leading me, because the Atlantis story's almost wrapped up.
Here's the thing,
and then,
you did this,
yeah?
And I did this. The reason this was never a problem for me is because I did this in pretty much the intended order, where I did the family stuff first, and then I did the Atlantis stuff, which is kind of the actual ending to the game.
Right.
So this was never a problem for me, but I can totally see how you completely messed up, because Medusa was one of the last things I did in the game. So
I went and done a lot of exploring very quickly, because I hated, I can't say this, I get it, artful, maybe even authentic. I hated the ocean being covered up with stupid Greek art. It was so messy, I couldn't tell if there was an island there or if that's just a toe. I had to get it off the map, and the entire eastern seaboard of the main landmass is still all arted up because I haven't had any reason to go there yet. I haven't discovered the entire map yet. Everything west is pretty much done. I've done that top to bottom. But the further east I go, next to kind of Catalonia, where you ironically start, but you kind of go down like a watery peninsula, like loch, yeah. That entire eastern bit though, to the kind of bottom left, up middle left, we'll say middle left, that entire middle left water part is completely undiscovered for me.
The map is ridiculously big.
Yeah, even Macedonia is basically mostly undiscovered for me. I like to go somewhere, get a viewpoint sync, so that's like a fast travel hub. Because I don't hate the naval combat. I've just talked about how I like it. I don't find it as compelling as I did the pirate era. So I just like to bop around, everywhere,
What's interesting about it compared to Black Flag is in Black Flag it's pretty much 50-50 ship on land gameplay wise. Yeah. Whereas in Odyssey, I feel like I only spend like 25% of the time on my ship. It's mostly wandering around.
Yeah, exactly. And the fast travel stuff makes it really easy. But see, right, so when I accidentally finish the game and Cassandra shows up in modern day, no, I never knew it was going to happen.
You didn't? Because again, I did a video about it ages ago.
Okay, so bear with me. I never knew it was going to happen, but again, I didn't know this was going to be the end of the game. I was like, hold on, you're getting the immortality staff. That means you're surely still around modern day. Oh, I wonder if you're going to show up in modern day later in the game. Oh no, this is the end and you're here now. And she shows up, and the second she showed up, literally the second she showed up, I was like, oh yeah, shit, Kyle made a video on this and I've watched it. I remembered your video as it happened, because recently, as you know, I'd been going through some of your Assassin's Creed videos because I was on the Assassin's Creed kick. I watched your Unity one and your Rank one, and I watched your Origins one, and I could swear you had done one on Odyssey, but I couldn't find it.
Oh, I removed it because I don't like it. It's too ranty and shouty. Sorry, did I gaslight you?
So I was like, I'm sure Kyle had one of these. Why don't you have these? I couldn't remember any specifics about it, but I thought you'd done one. And then I saw the Origins one. I was like, oh no, you must have done an Origins one, because in my head all this the sandy desert stuff is merged together into a single game. But no, I'm enjoying Odyssey. It's a good time. I still need to go back and finish the Ezio collection. For the record listener, I've played all the old Assassin's Creed games before, start to finish, but I never completed the Ezio collection as a new product bundle, because I got somewhere down Assassin's Creed 2 and then stopped for some reason. Not that the games are bad, they're great. And I need to do that. When I got Odyssey, I got Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered along with Liberations as like a free bundle with it. Because I got
and you've never played Liberations before, right?
I've never played Liberations before. Didn't that have like a weird camera angle because it was supposed to be like a PSP game at the start?
No, it might have on the PSP, but it plays normally.
Plays normally?
Yeah,
that's good. I'm sure I read something that was like this a game because it wasn't on console at first. It was like a weird port, and then they had to fix it.
I never had any problems with it, and I've played it twice, so.
So I'm going to play, after I finish Odyssey, I don't know if I want to go to Origins because it'll kind of keep me in the theme, or if I want to actually play 3 first because I got that with Odyssey. And then I feel I need to do the Ezio collection. I kind of want to do the DLC for Syndicate because I was so fed up with Syndicate at the end. The air's fine, the characters are fine, but there was something about just the map I didn't love. I didn't like Victorian London as the game had made it. I hated the fact that the train just wandered around itself and it didn't even show up in the map half the time, so I could never find it. I swear to God, that's not a lie. I couldn't find the train most of the time.
I don't remember having any of these issues.
I personally did. And I just kind of finished the story as quick as I could, uninstalled it, and never thought about it again. But now I'm on a kick, I kind of want to do it. And Unity, Assassin's Creed Unity, ladies and gentlemen. It's been spoken about before, and even if we haven't spoken about it, which I'm sure we have, you know Assassin's Creed Unity. It's infamous, if not, well liked. I always feel like I never gave that game a fair shot, and I revisited it once before, and even that revisit in my mind feels like I never gave it a fair shot. Because I want to go back to it again. I feel like Unity needs to be... I don't know, I feel like I'm shaking myself saying, don't go back, you've done it before. I need to go back. I feel like there's something wrong with me in Unity where I need to give it a fair shot for a third time.
I'm picturing you as like the thing from Lost, like we have to go back.
I don't know why. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I love revolutionary France so much and think that the Notre Dame Cathedral is just so great. And I think I kind of like the fashion stuff as well. Like I thought Assassin's Creed Unity had really good customization. I like that.
It had a lot of variation, but it like a lot of customization issues, you've got to pick for the numbers and not necessarily what you like to wear.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey done that quite well.
It's great in Assassin's Creed Odyssey because you can pick to look like whatever you want. You couldn't do that at launch, by the way. So I had to play... No, I had to play through the whole game with the chest plate I wanted, even though the stats became increasingly worse.
Oh, goodness gracious. Because my character... Christ, it looks like a monster if you take all the looks off.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
I've got the Conqueror's crown on, and I'm dressed up like an Amazonian. So I'm just a Wonder Woman.
You've got the Wonder Woman outfit on.
Got the Wonder Woman outfit. I don't have the Wonder Woman kind of crown mask on, where it kind of goes down the side of your jawline over your head. It's like three sides of a square.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have that one. That one isn't the game though, because I've looked.
That is the point. Somehow we managed to convince you to play Cassandra. I was wondering what was the tip-off for you to do that.
Well, so, as we've talked about, fake news Lexios, and again, and this other chat, they were heavily insistent I play as Cassandra as well. Friend of the show, Ryan, he
hates women.
He hates women. Massive sexist. And
I'm sorry, Ryan.
And he was like, play Alexios. You like, and because I'd said, I always, if the game ever gives me a choice, and generally it's true, if the game ever gives me a choice, I will always pick the guy. I just like to play as males in video games. If it's Destiny or even Halo, pick your Spartan gender. I just pick guy. I'm a guy. It's just me. I just like it. But people really hammered home. Now, to be fair, apart from friend of the show Ryan, the other two people, apart from you, that was hammering home plays Cassandra, they were also females.
Okay.
I have two girlfriends that play Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and they like it. They love it. One of the best Assassin's Creed games I've ever played. They think the story's great, the characters are great, the landscape, they love ancient Greece is just a thing anyway, so this helps them.
I'll say right now, Assassin's Creed Odyssey is in my top 5. I wouldn't call it my number 1. Black Flag will probably never be surpassed in that regard. But It is up there, and it is the prettiest Assassin's Creed game that there is. It looks gorgeous.
What game?
Odyssey.
See, does it?
I think
I need to, because everyone says this game looks bloody gorgeous, and see, whenever I do the sync points, I'm like, oh, it looks okay.
I can't believe you right now.
I remember, like, I could go back and play like Brotherhood or AC2, and see when you sync things, it felt like a moment. This game doesn't give a shit.
I don't know about that.
You still do the big camera pan out with the eagle. I get it, but I don't feel like the game's quite appreciating it. When like you don't even do the crouch anymore. I can just stand there and sync. It doesn't feel like a moment anymore.
Okay, we'll agree to disagree on that one. We're talking about Cassandra. And they were like, play Cassandra. She's great. And then one of the girlfriends, they were like, love it. I've played through as Alexios as well, and Cassandra's just better. I like her more. And then I brought up to them what you had said about how in general the Cassandra voice actor is just better, because that also played into it as well. The fact that the performance of Cassandra is actually superior. If it was just two fine voice actors doing their thing, maybe I still might have chose Alexios. But you know what? See, as I'm playing, I feel like Cassandra's just the better. I mean, from my point of view, Alexios is just some raging super titan. Well, that's the other reason me and Harris talk about it, which we couldn't say when we were trying to convince you, which is Alexios just makes a much better villain too. Yeah,
I'm just assuming that if I picked Alexios, that it's the same dialogue, you just flipped.
Yes, and some people say that Cassandra's a better villain, but that's because Cassandra's a better voice actor.
Yeah, so I'm seeing it and I'm thinking, I can't imagine Cassandra doing these things. I can imagine Alexios doing them. Alexios just looks like a brute.
Yeah,
he looks like he would be the Diadac's hand to bring.
Yeah, he's a big hunk of dumb muscle. It's what he does.
Yeah. So you know, I think probably I'm happy that I chose Cassandra.
Well, and there's the other stuff too. Like, if you'd done the Daughters of Artemis plotline stuff.
I have done that. Yeah, that's done. I'm the leader.
Yeah. Me and Harris were just joking, but that doesn't make any goddamn sense if you're playing as Alexios. Like, how do you become the leader of the Amazons if you're not a friggin' woman? It doesn't make any sense.
That's true. Didn't you say that the canon character is actually Cassandra?
Yes, it is. In the novelization, they confirmed that Cassandra is the canon character.
Right.
So there's no reason that to me the game feels like it was designed for Cassandra to be the protagonist, and it always irritates me that all the marketing is Alexios. It's just
because man in ancient Greece just sells better. Even in my mind, that sells better. Even if in the actual game that is not the case at all to what actually is better. Marketing wise, I completely get in my head why ancient Greek man. I get it.
It just feels like cowardice to me. That's what it feels like. They didn't have the balls to grow a vagina.
I think they probably spent a lot. I think they probably spent a lot of money to get that answer, though. I don't think they've done it lightly.
Well, they've said when they announced Odyssey that this is a thing now. That every game from this point on, which I don't know if there'll be every game, but certainly Valhalla, which we haven't even discussed yet, has that option.
Well, I would like to briefly cut into Origins before that.
Okay.
And that is that I've had this spoiled for me that Cassandra is the great-grandmother of the lady in Origins.
More than just great-grandmother. But yes, that is a thing that's confirmed in the DLC for Odyssey. For Origins. For Odyssey? Fuck. I'm getting these names confused. Yes, that is a thing.
So in Odyssey they confirm that the lady from Origins is the great-great-granddaughter or whatever.
Mm-hmm. I'll just say there's completely no reason for it at all. It doesn't add anything to the story whatsoever. It's just like, that's kind of interesting.
Okay, because
that's it.
My question was going to be, well, if she's immortal, where the hell is she in Origins? I mean, where the hell is she in any other Assassin's Creed game as well?
I brought this up. This is one of my major problems with that twist ending.
Oh, really? Right,
yes.
Okay. Because was the DLC out yet at that point, though? No?
So no, it wasn't.
Right, yes, because I feel like the familial connection makes it more like, well, where the hell were you? I understand maybe at some point you decided to fade away, your family bloodline died out and you just decided to call it a day, you weren't a part of World Events in Assassin's Creed.
And I'm
but
curious
in
how
Origins,
you'll feel about...
Origins, it's your family.
I'm curious how you'll feel about this, since you've played the real ending first. Does it not kind of make the whole family plotline feel a bit fucking pointless now?
What, the real ending has nothing to do with family?
That Cassandra lived on for 2,000 years after finding her family? It's like, well, what's the friggin' point then?
Nah, because even if she wasn't going to be immortal, at this moment in time, it's not like she was using the immortal powers to make sure that she could live long enough to see her family. It's not like, oh, if I don't have this, I'll die and I'll never get to see them. No, she would find them anyway. And the fact that she would outlive them is just, she would probably outlive them anyway. Her mother's older than her. The fact that she's going to live a lot longer than her, I don't really think makes much of a difference. Though I do think it's interesting that when I'm playing the rest of this game, she isn't going to have that staff on her at all. Why are you immortal? Where's your staff? Is it in your ship? Oh, your ship sunk. That's a shame.
Just so you wait till you get... Have you got the DLC for Odyssey, by the way?
I've got all the DLC. I've got the Ultimate Edition. I've absolutely every last UT bit.
Okay, so the best way to look at it is one of the DLCs is the Hidden First Blade is all about ancient Greek history side of the game.
Right,
and also
that's
the
first
family
DLC,
stuff.
right?
That's, yeah. And then the other one is all about the Atlantis Isu stuff. They kind of split it off like that. Which is the same thing they did for Origins as well.
Right, okay. Yeah, that's fine. I was going to play the First Blade first. That's what I was going to do.
I hate the First Blade, by the way. It's a complete side tangent. Harris isn't. I named him. Damn it. I forgot the joke.
You've done it already. It's fine. We'll just say Harris.
He hasn't played it yet, and I'm desperately waiting to see what other people think of it, because I hated it. So, gotta let me know.
Okay, I'll let you know what I think of it when I've done it. But, so... Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Again, not really my era, but I've fallen in love with Assassin's Creed again. Because I thought I didn't care, actually. For the past few years, I've had such a big stick up my ass about how they're just slapping the name on it.
You've been playing Fortnite.
I play other games, but primarily Fortnite, yeah, but that's not the point. I had a big stick up my ass about them just slapping the Assassin's Creed name on a game that I don't think has any business being named it. Now I kind of had this issue as an idea more so than in practice. Now I've played it, I'm in love with it again, and I was actually, in my job, I was actually speaking, here's just a little anecdote, I was speaking to a customer, and we're talking about outlets and stuff and how people are dealing with the world being in a state of lockdown. Mm-hmm. And talk about how this individual's son would use games as an outlet. And I was like, well, I like gaming as well. He says, yeah, he likes playing lots of story games. I was like, so do I. And as a matter of fact, I'm playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey at the moment. He's like, oh yeah, Assassin's Creed. He plays Assassin's Creed. I think he plays on PlayStation or something. It's not relevant. It was this customer. We were spending quite a deal of time together because I was helping them with something.
Sure. Okay.
And we spent about 10 minutes just talking about Assassin's Creed, the different games, different eras, and kind of how it all links together more or less. And I realised after 10 minutes, I didn't quite register it before the conversation had started, but just as we were talking, I was like, holy shit, I really fucking like Assassin's Creed. I thought I didn't like it for the past 3 years, but after playing Odyssey, I'm fully back in again.
And Welcome back. It's nice to have you.
It was a great interaction I had with this customer. Like, just for me, if not necessarily for them. Though the person was engaging, that's why it went on for 10 minutes. It wasn't like they nipped it in the bud and was like, let's move on. It was a proper back and forth. Because I think they were interested in how people were just dealing with lockdown. And I think that I'm fully committed back into Assassin's Creed for the time being. Maybe by the time I finish this replay on, Odyssey and Unity and Origins and 3 and Liberty, maybe I'll hate it. Maybe I'll vote again. Maybe I'll be so burnt out. But I think Valhalla, I will buy it probably now. I'm back in that phase where I will now annually or annually buy the Assassin's Creed games as they release. But I gotta say, I don't care for the era.
Well, here's the thing about that. So I'm not super huge on Vikings either. This ancient Greek was a real big win for me because I love that era. But Vikings, I'm not quite sure. But Assassin's Creed, they've done games in eras which I'm not big on before. Like American Revolution, it's not really a big deal for us Brits. So it wasn't a huge sell for me, but I still thoroughly enjoy those games. So
I did like that era. I like the Kenway era of Assassin's Creed games. I know you could arguably say that goes over a 60-year time span, but
the Pirates is awesome.
I like the American Revolution.
American Revolution stuff. All these names that I didn't know, like General Putnam and things like this, that's a big name brand for people who study American Revolutionary history, but we never did. So,
see, that's the thing. I'm a big fan of the kind of Revolutionary War to American Civil War. See that era, and even the Reconstruction period into the early 19th century, or early 20th century rather. I find that just early America, I find it all really interesting, especially the Civil War. I'd love an Assassin's Creed game during the Civil War. Give me that.
Yeah, I just know nothing about this, so
I would love a game where like Stonewall Jackson's a Templar or something. You know,
you just want a game where you can kill slaving rednecks.
Yeah, essentially. The Red State, the Templars, eh?
I don't know who Stonewall Jackson is. I'm sorry.
He was like a kind of other big general during the Civil War on the Confederate side who was like Robert E. Lee territory. You know?
I see. Okay.
Much revered individual. We wouldn't like him, but I would say, yeah. Anyway, that's a side tangent. Same with Norse stuff though. Not your thing.
I have confidence though that they'll be able to tell an interesting story.
The same way that you thought for the Revolutionary War?
Yes.
Where the era wasn't for you, but the story was
sufficient. I like Connor, and people don't like Connor, but I do. And I'll defend my boy Connor, okay?
What's his real name, Kel?
Raton Hagedon.
Obviously, I didn't think we were going to know that.
Oh, fuck you then.
I see. Yeah, I mean, you can just be lying to me, Kel. I honestly don't know either.
That's his name. I'm pretty sure that's his name. I don't know if I got the pronunciation right, but...
No, so, I mean, they're saying that you're going to raid the east coast of England, and I'm like, surely you would come across to Scotland. Like, or is Scotland geographically further north? I thought it was kind of on par with where the Vikings would come across from. Didn't they raid Scotland? And then they did in England, but like it's kind of, you need to kind of vertically pass Scotland to get there.
I guess we'll find out.
I think it'll just be parts of England, and there won't be much naval combat because Viking longships weren't really that. That wasn't that.
It'll probably be more like the combat in Odyssey, if I had to guess.
I think it'll just be ramming.
Well, I mean, they didn't actually have lines of archers on on trebuchets either, so...
I mean, there'll be fjords, and there'll be parts of the North Sea, I guess, but...
Are you saying we could go to the Northern Fjords?
We go to the Northern Fjords, Kale! The Northern Fjords!
That's a reference nobody will understand.
A friend of the show, Ryan, was talking about that game recently, and I was like, oh man, I missed that game. Right, we're going to name the game. If you know it, you know it. No one knows it. Even if they do know it, they won't know what the hell the Northern Fjords are. Good game.
Huzzah!
Huzzah! That's going to overblow everything. Sorry, rip headphone users. And I kind of think that I don't even think particularly, everyone says how nice places like Norway and such are. I've never been there. I've never even particularly looked up many images of it.
Pictures look pretty.
No, but even through like osmosis, I know that ancient Greece was known for its beauty, and its it was very advanced culture for the time. And like I can get it. I get why they would want to go there. Apart from Vikings and Norse gods, what's the set piece? As an art designer, what the hell is this game going to look like? I don't think the trails look particularly nice.
Well, that's the weird thing about setting it in England is boring. I don't know if you've ever been to England, audience, but England's boring. Sorry, English. Scotland looks way nicer than England.
It does. Scotland's a much nicer nation than England.
But yeah, if they set it in actual Norway, then I was picturing something along the lines of Skyrim. Is what I was thinking. Which doesn't help you because you never played Skyrim. But
I did for all of 10 minutes, but that's a different thing.
Hey, Nathan, do you remember Grizzleheim in Wizard 101?
I do remember Grizzleheim. I do.
It might look something like that.
Is there bears?
I hope there's bear people. I got back into pirating Wizard 101 recently. That's a thing that happened. Do you want me to reveal to you the secret reason that I did that?
Why?
I started a new YouTube channel where I post music from Wizard 101 and Pirate 101 with ambient visuals of the area that the music plays in.
Why?
Because no one else would, Nathan. And if you want something done right, you've got to do it yourself.
So you're just becoming like a librarian for obscure games?
Mainly just these two games. But do you want to know the most embarrassing thing of all, Nathan?
Go ahead.
It has more subscribers than this channel.
And you can't even plug this podcast on that channel because it will ruin the integrity of said channel.
Exactly.
Because that channel is a pure passion project and not some commercial whore.
Exactly.
Until it gets monetized and you start raking in the money.
I've hit a major problem on my archiving, so I'm on like the 9th or 10th world of Wiz, is where I'm at right now. But there's at a certain point in Wizard 101, they start having story events that kind of change the worlds. And obviously, I've already played past this point. So I have to replay through a lot of the game to get back to a point where I can record the music again.
On a fresh character.
He was like, okay, so I need to get up to like level 100, and this character was at level 50, so...
And the special event music can only be played the one and only time that you do it?
And not so much, it's, I know you don't care about spoilers, but... fuck it. Okay, so in Azteca, at the end of the game, the world apocalypse happens.
Right.
So every area you go to is playing with sad music, and there's like meteors hitting everywhere. Obviously, the world still has to be available, so you can finish up side quests and stuff. But everything is like apocalypse now. And
right, but is that only for you, or is that for like everybody else around you?
That's only for you.
Right, so everyone else sees everything fine.
Yes.
And to you, everything's just destroyed.
Yes, so I need to get another character up there to get through these areas before that happens, so that I can do it without there being apocalypse meteors everywhere.
Does this go to every single world in the spiral?
No, just this one.
Just this one, thank God.
But the other worlds after this also have things like that, where, like, you arrive in one place and it's, like, under an occupation. And then later on in the game, you free it from that occupation, so that the music and the ambience of it changes.
Here's the question, though, Kyle.
What?
How are you going to get the music for the Selena Gomez event?
I'm afraid that's a missed opportunity. You know what? If I ever met Selena Gomez at a convention or something, that is the first question I would ask, is, how did you feel about being in Wizard 101?
She'd be like, what? What? Like, bet she didn't even approve it. She didn't even have a word of spoken dialogue. They have a recorded music that she done for, like, just
she talked in it.
Did she?
Yeah, she was kidnapped by like a.
I remember she was kidnapped, but I thought it was all like typed out dialogue.
No, I think she had some spoken words as well.
I thought at the end she just sings her song and the frogs all dance, but the song's obviously used in other media, and it was just like her agent and management team that approved it.
Do you know how off the beaten path of things anyone will remember this is? This is an event from like 8 or 10 years ago, I think, when she was in this game.
Yeah, this is when Wizards of Waverly Place was the thing she was
It was still on the air.
It was still on the air, the film hadn't even come out yet.
Oh god. They've never done an event like that since. Very disappointing. Although Nick Jonas is still in the game.
Nick Jonas was in the game?
He didn't have his event. He composed some of the music for one of the areas, and so he's in Grizzleheim, and he's just sat there composing, and you can talk to him. He's like, hey, I hope you enjoy the music in this new area.
That's still a big get. When did that happen?
I think this was during Nick Jonas's short-lived solo career.
Right, okay.
I don't know how much you know what your Jonas Brothers lore is.
Well, see, I actually know more than you might think, because I've got friends that really like the Jonas Brothers, and they talk about it. And he had the song "Caked by the Ocean."
I don't remember. I don't know my Nick Jonas lore, to be honest.
See, I might even be talking about the wrong Jonas.
The wrong Jonas.
The wrong brother. But no, so yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, we're way off the beaten path here. Not only are we talking about a game people don't remember or don't know about,
we're talking about musicians people don't remember.
No, yeah, but we're talking about an event, a very specific event that probably over 75% of the Wizard 101 player base weren't even around to remember.
That's probably true.
Think about how much age that is.
Yeah, I'm going to get you a picture of Nick Jonas in Wizard 101.
Oh, that face. That I would thought he was going to be wearing like some white shirt blazer.
Oh no, he's a wizard.
Why is he a wizard? He looks more like a wizard than Selena Gomez, who was a wizard!
And you see he's got like an orchestra of plants behind him playing trumpets.
Yeah. That's mental.
He's just there. That's not an event thing. You can just go and see him.
That's absolutely fucking mental. They were doing these live musician events before Fortnite, ladies and gentlemen.
It's true.
Fortnite. Fortnite stole this from them.
Wizard 101's the original trendsetter.
It is. Fortnite had Drake and Travis Scott. We had Selena Gomez and Nick Jonas. So, are we done with gaming news and gaming stuff?
I think so.
I have something I would like to talk about that I remembered just as we started.
I did play the Saints 4 remaster, but if you want to hear my thoughts on that, you can again go and watch the video. Plug.
Click the link. What was the name of your Wizard 101 channel, by the way?
It's Ambiance 101.
Oh, very clever. Very clever.
Thank you.
Clap. So, Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Oh god. Okay, let's do this.
Cracking the fingers, ladies and gentlemen. It showed up on the fucking feed because I saw it. I want to start at the start of my experience with the DCEU, the DC Cinematic Universe.
Okay.
To a large extent, I will trash it like the same, like just as the meme community do it. Even fans of the films generally just accept that a lot of people don't like it and they kind of get in on it. But I, by and large, have been an apologist for that front, for just the DCEU as a thing. And I even like with a lot of asterisks pretty much all of the films. Bar Birds of Prey. I think I don't like Birds of Prey. But anyway,
really, that's
I think
the one a lot of people seem to like.
Well, so no, it's not bad. It's just it just wasn't for me. It's like I think I actually like Suicide Squad more.
Oh damn.
I haven't seen every single MCU movie in the cinema, but I have seen every single DCEU movie in the cinema. I've seen every MCU movie.
To be fair, there's 3 times the amount of MCU movies.
Yeah, but it was kind of at the start of the MCU, it was all dotty and I never went to the cinema as often. I think I never started seeing every single MCU movie consistently until Age of Ultron. But DCEU 2013, Man of Steel, I'd never seen a Superman movie before, and to this day I've seen some now. I don't like Superman in film at all. Sorry, people who love the Christopher Reeve movies. John Williams done magnificent music. I get they're iconic. They're the yin to the Tim Burton Batman yang. I get it. Like, I do. But it's just not for me. I think it just looks awful. The concept, the costume, all awful. I saw Man of Steel just with someone who wanted to see it, and it was just, hey, sure, why not? I've never seen a Superman movie in the cinema before, you know? And I thought it was going to be fairly meh, and I came out and it was fairly meh. And then years later, I went back and watched. I say years later, it came in 2013. Maybe I went back in 2015. And I was like, you know what? No, this film is great. And Superman in this film is the only Superman I've ever liked. And then Batman vs. Superman came out. And before Batman vs. Superman, I didn't know this was going to be an MCU shared universe. I thought Man of Steel was just it. And at first, there was thought that they were just going to incorporate it into being part of the Dark Knight trilogy. And Christian Bale would come back as Batman at some unspecified point.
Can you imagine that world? Can you? That would be insane.
Yeah, I know.
Christian Bale Batman versus Zack Snyder Superman.
Right, well, anyway. So I happen to think that Man of Steel was great, and then when Batman vs. Superman was announced and Henry Cavill was also going to be Superman in it, I was like, shit, they're doing an MCU. You know, Jesus Christ, it's Jason Bourne. Jesus Christ, it's a cinematic universe. That film came out and I had high hopes, and I saw it with a good friend of mine, and we were kind of empty coming out of it. I was like, what did I just watch? I should say, by the way, I think Ben Affleck's Batman is bloody brilliant and criminally underserved, and the abuse that man got for that role was completely unjustified. He was great in it through every single frame, apart from some maybe bad choices that Joss Whedon made in Justice League, but we'll get there.
I know the best thing to come out of that movie is that gif of dead inside Ben Affleck.
Well, Kyle, I happen to be an apologist for Batman vs Superman. I think it's an okay film.
I should note, by the way, that the only DCU movie I've watched is Suicide Squad.
Well, that might change what we're about to say then, because I'm just saying some stuff like I'm inferring that you've seen it. And I thought Batman vs Superman was empty at the time, and now I kind of like it, but I think it's because I've since seen the Ultimate Edition, which kind of adds some more...
Oh, no, sorry, I've also seen Wonder Woman.
Thank God, because Wonder Woman's great, we'll get there. And then Suicide Squad came out, and I felt like that was trying to be their Guardians of the Galaxy, but it was so weirdly placed, never built to anything. Apparently, in some cuts, they were supposed to kind of start building up see the big boom tube blue laser thing that Enchantress is making during that?
Mm-hmm.
That big blue tube is supposed to, not in the version of the film we got, but in an earlier script draft, was supposed to be like a type of proto-boom tube that would lead to Darkseid and stuff, and they would start laying the groundwork for what was going to happen in Justice League. So they never filmed any of it, but it was supposed to, originally the concept was that it was actually supposed to be actually building to something that was going to happen eventually. Then Suicide Squad just done nothing.
As an outsider looking in and also seeing reception to these films, the entire DCU has been chasing Marvel's dragon.
Well, it has been, completely. They've done their Civil War story. It's their second film. However, what I will say is apparently Civil War was never supposed to be made, and then after they announced they were making Batman vs Superman, they then greenlit Civil War. So apparently the word is that Civil War was actually a thing that was greenlit second because they were making Batman vs Superman. But just Civil War is an amazingly better film. Suicide Squad didn't do anything. It was what it was. It was a hot mess. And Wonder Woman came out. And my God, Wonder Woman is brilliant. Wonder Woman is a very good film. Great, good time. I love it. Approve it. Good stuff.
I like it all up until I think the last fight. I'm not big on the final big battle thing.
On the airfield?
Yeah.
That could be better. Okay, yeah, fine. I'm not going to say it's a perfect film. I know I just said how great and perfect it is, then I'm suddenly backtracking a little bit. You're not wrong.
Also, the entire movie feels like it wanted to be set in World War II, and they wanted the villains to be Nazis, but they didn't want the comparisons to Captain America. The entire film feels like that to me.
See, I think World War I's a better setting, so I'm happy. But I like the reveal of who Hades was.
Okay, sure, fine.
I like the fact that it was Professor Remus Lupin from Harry Potter.
I
it was
know.
David Lethulis. And then there wasn't another DCU movie until Justice League, was there? I don't think there was.
If there is, I'm completely blanking on it. But
So am I, completely. So I don't think there was. And then Justice League came along, and Justice League was interesting even before the film came out because everyone liked Wonder Woman, and she done what she done in Batman vs Superman, so people were happy to see her in her own film. And because of how good Wonder Woman was, people thought, right, okay, we're building here. This is going to be fun. And Justice League then, some part when the film was pretty much done filming, there was some reshoots to happen, but it was pretty much done. Zack Snyder, director of Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, and Justice League, we'll do some interesting stuff there. He suffered a family tragedy and he had to leave filming, and they thought, well, who do we get to finish this, because we're a business, we still have to release something, and there's a couple of things we need to tweak.
We're basically just copying Marvel, so let's just literally steal Marvel's director. Let's just do it.
So the head at Warner Brothers at the time, because unlike Disney owns Marvel Studios and Marvel's own company that make the films for Disney,
mm-hmm.
Warner Brothers doesn't have a company called DC Movies that make the films.
No, they just
Warner
own
Brothers
the licensing rights.
Yeah, they just own the film licensing rights. So the people who were in charge of kind of DC's side of things at Warner Brothers, they thought, well, this is our Avengers, let's just get the guy that made Avengers to finish this off. And it actually turned out they also made him reshoot most of the film.
Yeah, well, the mustache is famous.
Oh, yeah, the mustache is infamous because they got Henry Cavill back to do basically everything again. They didn't want him to shave his mustache. It was kind of... I can't remember who makes Mission Impossible. Is it Universal? They kind of were like, you can't shave, we need you for this. It would be so much cheaper for them to just get a fake mustache than to make them CGI his mouth. And anyway, but you can actually tell what stuff's Zack Snyder's and what stuff's Joss Whedon's if you've kind of got an eye for filmmakers and their styles.
The lighting is different.
The lighting is different. The kind of the camera, the kind of stuff that happens. Like, remember there's a bit in Justice League where
it's like I haven't watched, but I've seen all these comparisons and stuff. Obviously, when the movie came out,
okay.
And it's just bizarre because they are polar opposite filmmakers. It's it's an obvious clash of style.
Yeah, so it is a clash of style, and it turns out the version that Zack Snyder actually made, they never actually showed to audiences, but everyone liked what they had seen. Like the people behind the studio people, they liked it. But for some reason, when they done these massive I think the people at the
it's
top
not a
didn't
mystery.
like it.
They wanted to catch the Marvel audience.
Yeah, that's true. But they ended up reshooting a lot of it, and the film turned out to be quite different as a result. And unlike Suicide Squad, where there was concepts of building to Darkseid that was never actually filmed, a lot of the stuff leading to Darkseid in this actually was filmed, and it was just never released. And people have been calling for it, release the Snyder Cut. It's almost like a semi-serious meme for years.
Mm-hmm.
And they were doing a watch-along for... You would think it'd be Batman vs Superman or Justice League, but it was actually Man of Steel. They done this Man of Steel watch-along party. Henry Cavill hadn't said a single word about this the whole time. He shows up he hadn't tweeted out anything like the rest of them, and he shows up at the end of this watch-along party, and he's talking about, this is great, I love that you all like the film. Do we have something else you want to say, Mr. Snyder? Yes, here is... And it's not even called the Snyder Cut, it's just called Zack Snyder's Justice League. That's what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be an HBO Max, and it's going to be his vision for the film. I actually believe that because there's like union rights and stuff in films that determine who gets credited, and it's just like it's non-negotiable, you must be credited. Zack Snyder's credited, I believe, it's a Zack Snyder film on Justice League, but that's more of like a tweaking of technicality. It's really not his film. The end result completely changed his intent.
Sure.
And he's finally now being credited with this film, Zack Snyder's Justice League. It's going to be an HBO Max. There's rumours that it's going to be like 4.5 hours long, and it's actually going... So I don't really suppose you know this, but you might have heard about it. You know The Hateful Eight, the Quentin Tarantino film?
Mm-hmm.
So that was a big, long 3.5 hour film, but then when they put it on Netflix, they cut it up into short episodes.
That's bizarre.
But it wasn't like Netflix made that decision. The studio also, Quentin Tarantino, it was all like a thing, and each episode based on one part of the film. And it actually, I've never actually seen the film. People argue cutting up into miniseries actually makes it better because you can flesh more things out.
Well, did they add scenes and stuff?
Yeah, there's little bits that was cut here and there, and they kind of obviously they've got to kind of transition stuff out because it's like, okay, the credits are supposed to roll here. We can't just cut to the next scene. We've got to kind of, you've got to mix with the tempo and the pacing. Everything's got to change. TVs are very different from films.
Mm-hmm.
TV shows. So, but there's rumours that they're going to have to do that with Justice League because of how long they want it to be. But Justice League is a film, at least as we've seen it. I don't know how they can cut that into being a show. It's very set up as a film. It's supposed to be a film. And today they released a teaser trailer because DC are doing the Fandome event, and it's like a Comic-Con. It's called the DC Fandome, which is great.
Okay.
It's like the Thunderdome or the fandom. And they just released... So see, earlier on you were talking about how leaked trailers with the Age of Ultron and stuff, or Star Wars Squadrons.
Mm-hmm.
And they like to jump on and just release it officially, just so it's not messy.
Yep.
So apparently Zack Snyder, a couple of days before this trailer came out, he also just gave it out to like Jason Momoa and people in the his close knit group of people involved with the project. And Jason Momoa just put it on Instagram. And he credits Zack Snyder being like, I would not be where I am today if it wasn't for Zack Snyder. And Gal Gadot does the same thing, by the way. They both really appreciate Zack Snyder. They think without Zack Snyder, they wouldn't be where they are in pop culture right now.
I guess that's kind of true. I didn't know who they were before movies came out, so...
Game of Thrones, baby, Jason Momoa.
Oh yeah, just Jason Momoa was in Game of Thrones, that's true.
And Gal Gadot was in Fast and the Furious, but no one remembers her.
No one remembers Fast and the Furious.
No one remembers Fast and the Furious. So, Jason Momoa posted it online, and he talks in the caption under the video about how much he appreciates Zack Snyder, so it wasn't like in vindictive or, look at this. It was like I love this man so much.
A naive accident.
Yeah, it was a naive accident. And then the HBO Max and all that, the subsequent following action was to officially release it themselves, because, let's make it all together and clean. And it's have you seen it? I shared it, didn't I?
Yeah, it talks about how God is dead, and is it Lex Luthor?
Yeah, that's Lex Luthor dialogue from I believe, not Justice League, but I think from Batman vs Superman. Or maybe it's actually unused stuff that was recorded from Zack Snyder's Justice League, and it actually is new audio. I can't remember, but I remember in Batman vs Superman, he does kind of talk a lot about God, and if man cannot kill God, then the devil will do it.
Well, what's so bizarre to me about all of this is it's not a new movie. People talk about it like it's a new movie. It's not, right? I know that they did a lot of reshoots, but you can't fundamentally change a movie with reshoots. It's still going to be Justice League that came out. It's just going to be Zack Snyder's version of it.
But I agree with you in general, but I think there's a lot of caveats that could possibly change it, with things like they could just cut scenes that are in the theatrical version, and they could put in different scenes, and they're making like a Frankenstein's monster of just stitching stuff in and out and in and out and in and out. It's like a ship of Theseus, or where they just keep switching bits out, and is it the same film after a certain point, or when is it not the same film? And because over the past couple of years, Zack Snyder's released little pictures of his version of the film that was completely finished, and just wasn't put in. And there's, like, Darkseid he isn't in Justice League, he isn't in it. But in this teaser trailer, there's a picture of him on the mural that Wonder Woman's looking at, and it says Darkseid on it. And he, at the end of the trailer, is that shot that just kind of looks like the flashback from Justice League. But that's actually Darkseid, and it isn't in the film. And I think, like, they genuinely are adding a lot of more stuff in this. There was also supposed to be a bit, I think, where Superman actually shows up at, like, the Batcave where Alfred is. Not in the film. The black Superman suit, not in the film. But I know it exists. I think also there was talks maybe of Green Lantern actually being in the film, and not just the little cameo we got from the flashback. And there's also, I mean, this is just all rumour mill here at this point, but if this is a significantly different film, all these actors will need to be paid again for their labour, because it's a different product. Even if they filmed it as part of one product, it's a different product. Are they
actually doing reshoots and stuff for this?
So there's thoughts there might be reshoots, and Henry Cavill may actually come back, because now he's playing nice with them again. Because initially people thought Henry Cavill was done as Superman because of the Shazam film. Remember Shazam? That film that was great that no one saw, that came out after Justice League? There was a Superman cameo at the end of that film, but the camera cuts it, he's just above the S, because they couldn't get Henry Cavill to do it. He refused. And
he was too busy doing Witcher, baby.
Right, well, the rumour is, apparently this is a thing in Hollywood, not that I'm in any position to know, and I think Henry Cavill's an absolutely terrific actor. Apparently he's quite hard to work with, and there was like contract negotiations that just fell through for him to do this cameo. And then for some reason now he's playing nice with DC again, because he really wants to stay Superman. And by the way, I really want him to stay Superman. I don't really like Superman, but he is so good in it, and I love him in the role. I think he might reshoot some scenes, or actually bring in new scenes, because now he's actually, Zack Snyder as a person, he's had time to step back and make perspectives at his own vision and saw what came out, and he can look at the Justice League film that we got and go, well, I was going to do that in my version, maybe I won't do that now. He can change bits here or there because he's seen what the finished product was received like. Now, for all we know, this film could come out and be an absolutely, milquetoast, just, we were excited for years for that. And you know what? I think the odds are probably that will be what
absolutely.
Happens.
It's been hyped to absurdity at this point that it couldn't possibly live up to expectations. It's just reached that point of meme status.
I think in general, collective consciousness, that's true, but I think in my individual level, I think I'm tempering myself to the point where I'm just going to appreciate a different piece of product, because again, I have quite a heavy apology for the DCEU, maybe not as publicly as people would suspect, but I get a quiet kick out of all the DC movies. I mean all of them, including Birds of Prey, which is the one that's probably my least favourite, and I think Shazam's brilliant. And Black Adam's coming out, and Aquaman, we forgot Aquaman. Came out before Justice League. No, it came out after Justice League. And, it's apparently I like these films, but I'm forgetting them,
I literally completely forgot about the existence of Aquaman until you brought it up.
He's just in the new season of Fortnite, Kyle. Deadpool v Aquaman. And I'm not kidding, by the way. Jason Momoa's Aquaman is in Fortnite. I think that given time, and see, the thing that actually intrigues me most, it's not necessarily just seeing a recut of the film we got, but see if they do this cutting it up into episodes things, I think this could be brilliant. I'm not saying it's going to be, and I as I said, the smart money's on it just being, it's slightly better than the version of the film that we got, but it's nothing mind-bending. That's probably where I would put my money on. But again, because I'm so much of an apologist, I actually think that this could be great.
Well, I'm glad you're looking forward to it. I couldn't care less, so don't know what I can say here.
Give me more, Kel. Tell me you're going to watch all the DC movies.
I can't promise you that.
You watch Wonder Woman 1984 when it comes out later this year.
I'll watch Wonder Woman 1984. My biggest drawaway from not watching is how dark and moody they look, and just doesn't look like a fun and pleasant time. And that's really what I'm looking for in a superhero movie, is a fun and pleasant time.
Wonder Woman looks like a fun and pleasant time.
I just said I'm gonna watch Wonder Woman. Did you not hear me?
I know I did hear you, but immediately what you followed up with was like a detraction.
Well, that's why I don't watch the other DC movies, because they go heavy on the dark grittiness of it.
Man of Steel doesn't do that.
Are you kidding? Man of Steel, they like smash through buildings and he snaps Zod's neck and all this stuff.
So, right, I know that literally happens. And I know that it gets memed into absurdity, especially by our people who were both big fans of at Red Letter Media. But the context in which, because I think probably the neck snapping thing is the thing that gets a lot of people going crazy. If you watch the film in its full context, that is a big moment for him, and he hates himself after he does it, and he doesn't want to do it, but a family are about to die.
Well, that sure sounds like a lovely, fun, family-friendly time. Crushing self-guilt. Great, fun, happy times.
But it's a character beat. I'm not saying it's a happy, fun, like film. And the music's terrific, by the way. I'm not saying that should be the reason for you to watch it, though I happen to think 50% of all good filmmaking is the music. And maybe not 50%, 49%. It's a visual medium. Because you can watch silent films and they can be absolutely brilliant. But
you're a big silent film fan, are you?
I love that. I love that one
that
silent
Buster
film.
Keaton. Charlie Chaplin?
Charlie Chaplin. Is Nosferatu a silent film?
Fuck if I know.
I love Nosferatu. I think that you would like Man of Steel. I think it's a great film. Not happy fluffy, but it's not Batman vs Superman where that is quite dark and dreary and moody. Though I would say in Batman vs Superman they also retroactively they follow up the city wrecking, because the start of Batman vs Superman is Bruce Wayne driving through Metropolis, witnessing everything at the end of Man of Steel, and that drives him to hate him because of all the death and destruction he caused. So it does play into it quite a bit.
And then they beat each other up and they call each other's mums names, and that makes them friends. I know Batman vs Superman.
I can't defend Martha. I can't defend Martha.
Why did you say that name?
I can't defend Martha. Again, Ben Affleck is bloody terrific in the role, and Joker's a great film, but it ain't part of the DCEU, and that's the thing that's kind of attracting me from the new Rob Pattinson Batman movie, even though the film in Glasgow. I can't just see the fact that it's not part of the DCEU, and Ben Affleck I feel was done dirty in a lot of ways. It just makes me feel like I'm being robbed.
Was he done dirty, or did he just not want to be Batman anymore?
He was... See the hate he got because of Batman vs Superman? He also has trouble in his personal life. He deals with certain struggles. But he got such a beating from people in online.
I thought that was just before the film. After the film came out, all the pieces I saw were like, "Oh, he's the best part of the movie." So
yeah, all the pieces you saw, all the tweets that you read, though. Oh, people really, because he's got stuff going on in his personal life. I don't really feel like he as an actor maybe is equipped to be in such a big franchise like this mentally, because of what he's dealing with. Thinking everyone thinks that about him, if he buys into what people are saying, it probably does take its toll. Because he was a legitimate Batman fan. He built his own Batcave before he was Batman. And it wasn't like, oh, it's like a man cave that every guy's got in their family home. It was like he built a back. I think it was for his son. I think, but he was such a big fan of the source material because he's a big famous celebrity. He's got the money to do these things. And then he got Batman. He was supposed to write and direct his own Batman film. And I think there was a lot of behind-the-scenes drama as well where they couldn't get everything to line up and work. And one of the Batman comic book writers has been on record in saying that we're never going to see Ben Affleck's script, but he's read it, and he's a Batman comic writer, and he says it's probably one of the finest pieces of Batman writing he's read in a long time. Not that we're ever going to get it.
Not that the opinions of some random Batman writer really affects all that much either.
Not that it affects that much, but if he's the writer of good comic book content that...
You didn't even specify that he's the writer of good Batman comics. They could be shit, we don't know.
Right, okay, well, the general implication was there that he was supposed to be a good Batman writer. You know, he's saying it's an absolutely fine piece of writing that we'll never ever get to see, probably. And again, Ben Affleck is a powerhouse actor and filmmaker in general. But, you know, well, I guess we weren't going to trust him with the brains of Batman because he's incapable of doing it, despite his credentials saying otherwise. Because I really do think probably the biggest drawback of the DCEU has been studio interference. Not that studio interference is always inherently wrong, sometimes it's actually needed. Kevin Feige, whenever he interferes in a director making a film, that's studio interference, but we don't give him shit for it because we love the MCU. Studio interference is something necessary, but I would say the DCEU has actually suffered by and large from it. And I think probably Ben Affleck would have been better off to be left to his own devices and have had originally been allowed to make the Batman film that we'll never see.
But now we've got Robert Pattinson, and he looks like a BDSM star.
Robert Pattinson?
Robert Pattinson.
Batman?
The Twilight dude.
He was a vampire, now he's a bat.
Cedric Battery.
You get it? He was Cedric Diggory.
Remember Cedric Diggory?
He's dead.
Remember when J.K. Rowling was respected?
And cut.